Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining the Shelly Panzarella Show. This is episode 2, and I am so excited that I've got one of my dear friends here, also my business partner in real estate, Miss Bobby Camacho. Welcome, Bobby.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. We're going to dive into so much. One of the things that I love about Bobby is, one, she's obviously a great buyer's agent, but we are shifting a little bit, right?
Yes, we are.
She's moving into the listing agent side. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But you're just an all around, I mean, you've been not just my business partner, but you've also been a great friend of mine. And we've dove into doing a Bible study together called the Women in Real Estate Discipleship. And we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So I'm excited to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here, and thank you so much for that introduction.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll just jump right in. What questions do you have for me?
The first thing I want everybody to know is like who you are, right? Obviously, Bobby Camacho, you're a real estate agent here in Las Vegas. How long have you been in the business?
I've been in the business about 16 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and it's been a long time. It's been a great journey for me. I got into the business back then. It was 08. So it was a lot of foreclosures back then.
I was going to say right after the housing crisis. What a great time to jump in.
Right. And I didn't know any better because of the fact that I had just jumped in. So I was just doing deals, deal after deal after deal. So it was a great time for me to learn because they were a lot of foreclosures I did and helping a lot of buyers, not any sellers at that time. So I did transition into a little bit of sellers because I did have a lot of buyers back then that are now selling. So I do sell houses as well.
What would you say is your percentage today of buyers versus sellers?
So last year, my percentage was about 80, 20.
80 buyers?
Yes, 80% buyers, 20% sellers. And the sellers that I had were my buyers, or there were referrals. So I do my business is based on referrals business as well. So I do business to business, which is agent to agent referrals. And then I do, of course, my past client referrals and their friends and their families and, all that kind of stuff. And that's, when I send you business for my friends and families as well.
Yeah. Well, and so what percentage of your business is referred business? Like from your agent to agent, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are you getting it? Because we'll talk a lot about your videos as well, because I think we see a lot of leads coming from that too, but specific to people referring to you, whether it's your sphere, whether it's agent to agent, what percentage of your business is that?
A lot of my referrals are business to business. And so I would say about 50% of my business is that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really high because I started that a couple of years ago. So that's why. And then I always touch on those agents that are out of state. So I always call them and ask them questions about their business, and they want to know how the market's doing here. So I do a lot of that.
And what got you down that path? How did you get started there?
I just started to think about using other realtors out of state because one real estate agent in Arizona reached out to me, and I actually thought it was a fake call. And so she reached out to me and said that, we have a buyer and we're looking for an agent out there, which all agents hear that phone call. And so I started talking to her and she sounded legitimate. So I used her and she brought me a buyer right then and there.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. So then I thought to myself, I need to start using other agents that are out there. I have in the past used other agents when my clients want to move out of state, but never did a program with them. So now they're in my program, my business to business program.
I love it. So you actually have it as a pillar inside of your business.
Yes.
Where you have business to business or agent to agent where you're doing that. How do you stay on top of that? Or what's your system and process in maintaining that relationship?
So I use a program called Top Producer, and it will tell me what to do every month. So we either text them, email them, call them, we send them something. If they do refer me, then we send them an extra gift type of deal. So that's how they pretty much stay on top of me being their real estate agent here.
And how do you find them? So if you have, because it's not necessarily that you have clients that are going there, right? You want them to bring the clients who are coming to Las Vegas to you, right?
Right, exactly. So I would just go online to find them. But now that we started with Elite.
Oh, Tom Ferry, yep.
Yeah, our group there. So there's a bunch of agents on there too. So I started to use them.
That's awesome. And with your agent to agent referral, so if I'm an agent listening to this today, what would be the best way for them to connect with you to get on your wait list?
Well, you can go to Instagram. It's Las Vegas 1. is my Instagram, and I can also give you my information too that you can post.
And then just connect with you online
Yeah.
on Instagram. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. And we talked a little bit about some of the shift that you're doing in your business today. You want to share a little bit about that because you're shifting from what percentage is your goal for listings this year versus what it was last year?
I would like to do 50-50 as far as listings. I still like my buyers,
Yeah.
my heart goes out to them. I want to help them find the right house. And it's so fun for me when they do. And I become friends with them and we talk after. So, and I always tell them, you're not going to get rid of me after you buy this house because we do events, right? So you're definitely going to be invited to those as well. So I would like it to be 50-50.
Yeah, I love that. And so what are you doing to increase your listings?
I'm doing more posting as far as listings online because we do the YouTube.
Yep.
So we do YouTube, and so I try to post different posts now as far as the sellers out there. And when I connect, I do cold calling too. That's kind of old school, but I do cold calling. So when I talk to them, I ask them if they're pretty much in the market of selling or if they know anybody who wants to sell, and that works as well too.
Wow. So you cold call, you're getting a list basically in a neighborhood. Are you farming in that area?
Yes. So actually what I do is if I have a buyer in that neighborhood, I'll call around there and tell them that I have a buyer in that neighborhood. And if I do have a listing in that neighborhood, I call around and say, what do you like about the neighborhood? Because I need to, be able to market this house properly. And then they just open up.
Yeah.
Either good or bad about the neighborhood, but they open up.
Yeah. Well, and I remember you telling me about one of your listings in Lake Las Vegas, and you're like, I just love the community. I was able to go and door knock around there. So share a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, I had a listing out there a couple of months ago. And so I door knocked out there with my daughter. So we passed out flyers. They were so nice. Even one lady had us come in her house to show us her paintings that she was doing. It was beautiful. Then I met an owner that owns the nail salon that's out there in Lake Las Vegas. So,
oh, very cool.
Yeah. So it was good. They were super nice out there.
Yeah, that is a really cute community. I actually like
it
that.
It is. And it's growing.
I was going to say, it's making its comeback for sure here in Las Vegas.
Right.
Well, talking through your videos, I would say that for me is one thing about you that I say you are great at. You have been extremely consistent about doing videos, and you've pushed me to be better at doing them and staying consistent. So thank you for that. But tell me a little bit about that journey and how you even got started. Like everybody talks about doing videos and YouTube and all this other stuff, but you really have, we'll put your link in the description below so that they can check out your YouTube video. But now we're getting tons of calls and like, I saw this video and we're like, that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit about how that journey started for you.
Well, it was COVID. And so I thought, well, we'll just do Zoom videos. And that's how we started pretty much. So we did those YouTube videos side by side because we couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So you'll see a lot of those out there, but now we're getting out there to be able to be at the properties. But also too, we do realtor terms, loan terms, getting that information out there so that way people can go to them. And I tell people, even when I'm talking to them, is check out my YouTube videos because the questions that you might have might be on there. The answers might be on there. And we try to hit that as far as the questions that we've had last week, or even had a client that had questions that they didn't know about. So we kind of go that route.
Yeah, it's been helpful, right? Using some of our buyer questions and answering them there. Sometimes they may not even realize that they are the story in some of the questions or statements that we're having. But I think because you also do, you do community videos, you've done what's happening in Las Vegas. Which of those videos do you see the best or most success in?
The community videos, I for sure like doing those when we go to one community. I need to do more of those, but I noticed that people like that. And also the houses as well, because they could just tour the house because I just do a video of the house and then go over the payment. So people like the payment, can see what it's at, what they're at as far as the payment's concerned.
Yeah, I think that's in speaking to the consistency aspect of it, like we're dialed in, it's like a priority for us to move. How did you build that into your system? Like, how did you put that into your timeline or your week?
Yeah, I have to calendar that for sure. And it has to be in my calendar. So yeah, we move it around once in a while. It's not a big deal, but it has to be in there at least that week, if not for the next week, so we could post it that same week. So we're consistent.
And you're prepared for that too.
Yeah.
Are you like that with everything else that you do? for business?
Yeah, I try to put everything in my calendar, and so that way I can actually see it. I look at my Google Calendar every day,
Yeah.
so I'm always looking at it. Hmm.
With your cold calling and prospecting, tell me a little bit about how you put that together and when, like, is there certain times that you do it? Where do you get the list? Things like that.
Yeah, from 9 to 11 is really good. The list I was at RedX at one point, but now I get them through Arch Agent. So I'm kind of testing the waters on that one right now. Arch Agent is a dialer, so I like that dialer, and so I use that dialer. But I have the list, I put it in there, and then I schedule it in Monday through Thursday.
Do you use scripts when you call, or you
I
just
don't.
no?
I
Okay.
used to use scripts, but I don't use scripts anymore because a lot of people on the other end, they're so different. And so
Yeah.
I'm like actually moving away from the script anyway. So I don't use scripts.
Got it. And how do you like prepare? I know not everybody loves jumping on the phone cold calling.
Oh
How
yeah.
do you prepare for that?
You don't, but in my head, I'm like, okay, I got to do it. I have to do it. I have to do it. So,
Yeah.
but you know what is so funny is that every time I jump on, once I'm in it and I talk to somebody, and even if they're not going to buy, but they'll just talk to you for a minute, I'm ready to keep going for the next one. And after the 2 hours, I'm like, that wasn't bad.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
no, even myself, even though I've been doing this a long time, I still get that little bit of a cold feet too as well.
As you jump on and
Oh
then you
yeah,
just go.
yeah.
I
mhm,
love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So let's talk a little bit about the real estate market. So you've been in the business 16 years,
Mhm.
right? And you started when we were in a housing crisis. I feel like some people think COVID was a little bit of another crisis. I don't want to say that it was a housing crisis, but a little bit of a shift in the market. How are you feeling about the market today?
For me, this year started out really well. The end of last year was a little tough with the interest rates going up. A lot of things just kind of halted. But this year, I think everybody's just past that whole interest rate scare, should I say, last year, and they're not even thinking about it. My buyers aren't even asking about it anymore.
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy, and I'm probably the same with you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's definitely not a hard conversation as it used to be. It's just kind of like they know, okay, 7% range now, whether it's up or down. I think they think they're winning if it's under 7. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, really? 6.99? That's awesome. So I feel like people have gotten a little bit of fatigue too, right, in waiting. That
Mhm.
they need to buy and want to jump in and buy. And I know we were just talking before we sat down, like you're busy, right? Like
Mhm.
you're like, I'm so busy. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful that you could take the
Yeah.
minutes or a few minutes to be here. But what do you, what would you attribute the change right now in the market? Do you feel like it's just people or?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think people still have to move, regardless if they're moving for work or they have to move to upgrade. They're still having to move. And I think they probably thought about moving last year, but got that fear.
Yeah.
So I think they're past that now. So they're not even asking about interest rates anymore as they did before. And I'm not even a lender, but they ask me lender questions. And I'm like, you need to call Shelly. But now they're not even asking for that. They're saying, this is the location I want, of course, how many bedrooms, that kind of thing. So they're moving forward now.
Do you see more first-time home buyer move up or investor purchases today?
I would say just basically homeowners wanting to move. I had just
Move
the
up.
past, I just had the past couple months. One was just a move up. It was a VA. They moved up. Another one right now is just having to move up kind of because they're going to have a family member going to move in with them, so they do need a bigger house. So things like that, it's more of they just have to do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think we're seeing a lot of the moving anyways, is because a lot of people, even though they have the low interest rates, they have to move, to your point, right?
Mhm.
Like they have a family member moving in and the house is too small. And regardless if they have a below market interest rate, the necessity to move is more important than the low interest rate, right? And so
Yes.
it's requiring them to move. So if you were working with a buyer today, how do you navigate them through today's environment?
Well, the great thing is that we kind of figured out regarding the interest rate,
Yeah.
should I say, we kind of figure out different plans for them. So each one is different. Each person is different, and then when they talk to you, they're able to get a plan in place.
Yeah.
So I think that has helped a lot because they can say, okay, I want this dollar amount with, if we're going to do a buy down, and a lot of people don't even know about buy downs.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So that the the last couple that did the buy down, they started in their head, okay, well, Shelly said I could do this at this buy down.
Yeah.
There's 2 different rates. So, it's great because there's a plan now for them. So they're happy about it as before they were in the dark.
Yeah, it definitely has taken a little bit more strategy around discussion around payment, discussion around even in the market. And because I mean, our last clients, they were searching for 2 months. They came off of a video, a VA video. I thought we got them pre-approved on Sunday. They were ready to go on Monday, like the perfect story. And then multiple offer situation. And so they've been working and going through different things, and they have probably gone back and forth in payments, but it took some time to really understand what they wanted to do. And we talked through a lot of the different strategies for them in building wealth. And they are, fortunately in a contract, not closed yet, but ready to close,
right?
Which is great. And I just want to say, for me, I work with a lot of agents. All of them are great. I always hear when your clients come to me and they're like, oh, I told Bobby that I want a 4-bedroom home in Green Valley with a pool priced under this point. I'm like, not every agent would I say that they're going to find it for you, but Bobby will find it for you. And that's always been my thing. Like, Bobby, this one's going to be square peg in a round hole. And you're like, that's okay. We can figure it out.
Yeah. No, it's been that way too.
Yeah.
It has. It's been with the grace of God that I was able to find something for them.
Yeah.
Or even somebody else, so, and the last ones that we just did as well too. So it's been a journey, but it's been fun, and I really enjoy helping them. They're just so happy, to be able to they're so excited. When can we close? When can we close?
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think that attributes to just your patience, and you're also very you're very much about persevering. Like, the right home will pop up. I mean, we have other clients before where they're in contract, it falls through because of the house, and you're like, it's okay. There's a reason. We're both faith-based, so I know we all go to the background of, like, there's a reason you're not supposed to be in that house today. There's a reason for that, and then we figure that out when they're in the right home.
That's funny that you say that, because I have a checklist when I go through the buyer consult.
Yeah.
And so there's a whole checklist, and then there's this one house that this one couple saw, and they loved it. They absolutely loved it, and they didn't get it. And she told me to put that on the checklist, to not fall in love with the house.
Oh, I love that. We've added to that checklist. I think one of them was, don't buy diamond earrings after you sign your loan documents, all because of stories that we've had with our clients.
On the day of closing, right?
On the day of closing, yeah. Oh, yeah, that was a fun conversation.
Yeah.
We thought she was ready to close. So something, I know we talked a little bit about your shift in going into the listing, but one thing that we talked that has stuck with me as you and I have kind of gone through the first 4 months of the year is you actually said, Shelly, I'm going to stop doing conferences. I'm going to narrow my focus and just focus in on 2 things. And so I want to know, 1, why you made that decision, and then 2, what are the 2 things you've narrowed your focus on?
Well, I was going to a lot of conferences, and as a real estate agent, I usually go to shiny things all the time instead of focusing on one thing. So this year I've made that commitment to focus on one thing, if not 2 things. So that's my top goal, is just 2 items this year. And if I get called to go to another conference, I'm saying no, because I want to focus on those 2 things. Because looking at my business, and I do have pillars, like you said, of items that I do already. So if I have a few of those pillars, if I can expand that, then I'll be good to go. So the 2 is one that you had brought up, the 100 days for $100,000. I'm going to be starting that.
Yeah.
And then that's going to be really great. And then this other one, I joined with it's a 10-day challenge. So, I mean, we're just starting. So I can, let you know about how that one's going to go.
Yeah. Well, we'll have you back on the show just so you can say your results and see exactly how that was. I think it's great that you are narrowing your focus, and you actually were a great reminder for me. Because I'm that same person. Like, I will bounce from conference to conference, get all the information, and then like the year goes by and you're like, I didn't implement one thing, right? Well, so when you actually said that to me, I'm like, that is so brilliant for you to actually narrow down your focus and be very intentional about what it is that you're doing. And I know because of that, you're going to have great success, because you have already great energy, great enthusiasm. You're great as a realtor, 16 years in the industry. So if you focus and narrow down that focus to one thing and you put all of your energy into it, why wouldn't you be successful? Right?
Yeah, and it's hard because you invited me to a conference that I was like, oh, that's
I
a
know.
really good price, and
Yeah.
I really should go, but I'm like sticking to my guns.
Yes, yeah. I love it. I love it. Well, and good for you. And I know that we'll have more to talk about that as we, as well, I think the 100-day ends in July. So maybe,
Yes.
we'll bring you back in August I'll bring you back after we go to the Tom Ferry Summit. I think
Yeah.
that'd be a good
Mhm.
recap for us to come up here
Yeah,
and
and
talk on that.
and by the way, everybody, it's not just me. She has a whole group of people doing this. So
Oh, it's just Bobby.
yeah, so it's going to be interesting. You should do the whole group too. So
Yeah.
that would be great.
Bring them in here as one-on-one. Yes, I definitely will have, it'll be exciting to see who sticks around. I always think it's fun because we
Yeah.
have 20 people registered
Oh, good.
starting today,
Wow.
and we'll see how many make it to the finish line.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So something else I want to share or I want you to talk about in respect to building wealth in real estate and kind of your journey is your story. And I know you don't like the label of it's not my story, Shelley, it's my life. It's just who I am. But I really do think that you should be proud of it. And two, I think more people need to hear your story so that they can have the courage and encouragement to know that they can do it as well. So, I mean, I'll just kind of tee it up for you, but 16 years in the real estate industry, top producer in your company multiple times, quarters, years. You obviously do good business, do right business, and you do good business for good people. But the journey that I want you to talk about is how you actually got started and why you chose real estate.
Well, thank you so much, but I couldn't do this without a team either. So, thanks to you and thanks to Title and my assistant. So, it is definitely a team effort. But I started 16 years ago and I helped somebody get a home, and I absolutely thought it was so fun. I said, this is fun. I like seeing houses. Actually, that's my fun part of the job. I tell people, let's go see houses. The harder part of the job is after into escrow to make sure all the paperwork's done and making sure your file's at the top, that kind of thing. But so I started there. My kids were small, and so I just kind of dragged them with me everywhere. So I built that up as a single mom and had to buy a house. So I ended up doing that, and then pretty much just showing them how to build wealth through through what I was doing. So they saw it through their eyes.
And I think I'll fill in the gaps because she did not do it as she left out a few things. So you got divorced, and what got you into real estate? What made you choose real estate?
Well, I got separated.
Okay.
At the time, and so at that time I was a stay-at-home single mom. So I didn't have a job. I did previously. Before I had children, I had a career, but then I had children, and we had made the decision for me to stay home and raise them. And then something happened, and we, decided to be separated. And so I didn't have a job. At that time, I had remembered my real estate agent before, and my sister needed to move here, and so I hooked them up together so she can look for a property out here. And he said to me, because you're looking with me to see property for her, and you're bringing me the listings, why don't you join my team? So I said, okay. So I did, and he gave me a few, it's funny because it was 08, so he gave me a few leads. Those 3 leads ended up expanding into more leads just by those 3 because of the time frame. I believe it was because of the time frame. So investors know investors know investors.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I grew my business through that.
And then at some point you were making good income enough that you could qualify for a home.
Yeah.
So then you decided that it was time for you to purchase your own home, right? And then I know we've recently helped you in finance. You moved out of that home. You bought an investment property though too, right? You never moved into your townhome. I
did. I bought an investment property because I saw the prices going up and I thought I needed to jump into this. So I did buy a townhouse. And then I stayed at where I moved into for 11 years. And then last year we just purchased I purchased a house.
Yeah.
In Henderson. It's still in Henderson.
Yeah. And so I think that's one element of the story, which I think is great. I think your journey, and I'm super proud of you. And I think you definitely need to share that because there are a lot of people out there today one who are in a situation maybe where they don't know what the next step is for them in moving forward. And you, just like you always do, you just kind of take everything and you just move forward, right? You just take action, and then everything falls into place, which it has for you. The second thing I want to say is you've also taught your kids, and primarily your son, because he's of age to do this, but as he turned 18, I remember getting the phone call like, Shelly, you need to help my son. He needs to get credit, and we're going to help him buy a house. And I'm like, okay, I'm on the mission. He was 18 at the time, right? Yeah. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting because it wasn't going to happen because he was going to just move out and rent, but we saw the rent prices at that time were $1,500. So I thought that's a lot of money for rent.
Yeah.
And so that's when I called you. Let's see if we can pre-qualify him and see how much it would be to purchase a condo.
Right.
And it was, I think at that time we did have lower interest rates. But with the HOA and everything, it's like $900 and something a month. Yeah.
Right. And so, we had to prepare him, right?
Yeah.
And we had to get his credit up. And so we worked towards that. It's funny because we do videos together and we talk about these things on how we help our other people. And we're like, why don't we just do what we do for your other people, for your son? And so we were able to help him buy his home. He moved into the home and now he's out, right? He moved out and it's a rental for him today.
Yes. So he decided to do something a little different. So his buddy needed a roommate. So he ended up moving in with him and he pays $700. They split it. And he rents out the property that he has for $1,500.
Wow.
So he takes that extra money and then uses it for his rental now.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
So his home that he purchased is now cash flowing enough to pay for his living today, which I think that is the true thought of building wealth in real estate. And how old is he?
He just turned 21.
Right. And we started this when he was 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's just an amazing journey, your journey personally, but then also what you've instilled in your children. I'm sure your daughter will be next in line to do that, although I'm sure you're not ready for her to leave the home yet, because that would be, the empty nest syndrome is real. But I want to commend you on doing that. And I think you definitely need to be prouder of it, because I'm the one always tooting your own horn. Bobby's story is so amazing.
Well, it's funny that that you say that, and you alluded to the fact that he was only 18, but at the time I never thought about it being a deal or anything, that it was amazing, because we were just moving in that I'm in the real estate world, so we were moving in that track. So yeah, now looking back and with your help looking back, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess these are little milestones that I had done.
Yeah.
And helping the kids as well.
Yeah, too. Yeah. And I think even for your son, right, he's learned, he's always been an entrepreneur. He's a great, he's got his own photography company. And I think just in him seeing a different, like we talk about pillars of his business, now he's established a secondary business for him that's really paying for his living expense today. At such a young age, I wish I had somebody, who pushed me in that direction at that age, because I only know if he got to 50, he should be way, way, way over the things that I've done in my lifetime. So
yeah, no, I agree. I wish I had that as well. Where I'm at right now, if I did have that, it would probably have been sooner.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah, if we'd had more influence by people like us.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit, we talk about your kids, but tell me a little bit, and they're both gone away to college. Well, one of them is still with you and the other one is still here, but not in your your home with you. Tell me a little bit about what it looks like being a mom and a realtor today.
It's a lot easier. I'm not a taxi mom anymore. I'm looking back at that. I don't know how I fit that in and real estate as well.
Yeah.
But it is a lot easier because they both drive and they both have their own lives. So focusing more on my business is my goal now.
Love it. Yeah. And it doesn't feel as, it's not as guilty as it was, right? When they pull up right next to you with the little Barbie laptop, like, are you ever going to get done working today?
Yes.
Like, oh, yeah. I'll be with you in just 10 minutes.
Right. And then jumping out. And my son always always tells me, Mom, you can make dinner so fast. You could just say, I want this. And I'm like opening the cabinet. Okay, I'll make dinner. But you just learn to do that because, you don't have much time. You have trying to fit everything in, dance class and gym and band and real estate. And, just looking back, I don't know how we fit it all in.
Isn't it crazy?
I know it is crazy.
So what do you do with your time now other than real estate?
I do like to go to the movies.
Awesome.
Yeah, I do. That's kind of like my thing. I like going to the movies.
What's the latest movie that you've seen?
Oppenheimer, I think, was the last
was
one I
good.
saw. It was really good.
Yeah.
So I do like those kind of movies. I did see Everywhere, Everything All at Once, but that was on Netflix. So yeah, that was kind of interesting too.
Love it. So you're a movie goer. Do you order popcorn when you go to the movies?
Oh my gosh, yes.
And
Lots
wine?
of I haven't tried that yet.
No? I've had that there.
Oh, okay. I might have to try that next.
Yeah, that's funny. And so do you have an upcoming movie that you're going to go see?
I looked online yesterday. I haven't seen anything I liked, so I will look again next week.
Gotcha. I got you. Well, one of the things that I want to make sure that we address is Wired, which is our group that we put together, Women in Real Estate. And I think we finally labeled the D as discipleship. It was devotion, it was dedication, it was whatever. But I would just want to thank you because you really did. It was something on my heart for a while, and it was just in your fashion of like, let's just do it. Yeah. And I remember us sitting together at a coffee shop, and I think God led us there because we'd gone to church every weekend, and it was like a coffee shop deliberation, and it was just the one. And you're like, why don't we just get it started? I'm like, oh my God, let me say to put all this stuff together. And like, who do we invite? Blah, blah, blah. That's my head. And you're like, let's just do it.
Right.
Like, okay. And there it began. And I think I want to thank you for that. But I think for us, although it was for others, the intent was for others, for me, and I'd love for you to speak about this. It has really grown me from a spiritual aspect in the business world, as well as in my own spirituality and in my own self. So I want to talk to me a little bit about the group and your
yes, no, and thank you as well, because we did collaborate on that and put this together. So
Yeah.
couldn't do it without you as well. And it's been about a little over a year now, I think.
It
So,
has.
and we meet every Thursday, and it's a great meeting. We talk about a verse, and we go over anybody's prayer request, talk about real estate for sure, and how we can help. It's just a great get together. We collaborate so well in this program because we all are in the real estate field. And we made it that way so we can understand each other as women in this field and help one another grow, regardless if it's another real estate agent, another lender, a title person. We're in that field. We're helping each other grow. It's great.
Yeah. And I think that was the ultimate goal, right? There are a lot of Bible study groups, and I think ours is even different from just your traditional Bible study. And it's so you talk about the verse, which for you and I, it's like that Sunday, text, like, what about this verse? What about that verse? And then we lean into a verse, which I feel like is provided to us, and we give it to the group. And it's crazy how that Thursday, when we go over that verse, it's resonated with somebody in that group that needed to hear that specific message. And then it opens eyes and ears and hearts from all of us to talk about it. And then I think even in business and faith, in my business, it's shifted just because I have different conversations now where, even in your videos, right? How you end your videos, just a small thing of saying, have a blessed day, where it wasn't like that before. So I love it. And I would say, if you would like to be part of it, definitely DM or connect with Bobby or myself here or on Instagram. It is called Wired. We have it Thursdays at 4:00, every Thursday at 4:00. And we do in-person meetings like once a month. This month was all about Shelly because because I turned 50, and it was an amazing, amazing in-person celebration that we were able to be together. And I was so grateful for that. Anything else on the Wired group?
Yeah, we do meet once a month, and we collaborate there. We eat.
We do eat, yeah.
And we talk about the verse, and we talk about any prayer requests, and we really get involved in that prayer request. That's what I like about it as well.
Yeah.
And it helps even if it's not about you. it does help. And like you said, that it has helped my business also too, and my family and me.
Has it? How's
Yeah,
that?
and I could feel myself growing. I
Oh,
could feel
good.
myself. I mean, I've always been a Christian, but never if a problem came up, go straight to the Lord. So now it's I do that. I pray.
Yeah.
I do know one prayer, but I'm trying to learn more. But it's great, and the great thing about Wired is we have different levels of people
100%.
that are in the Christian faith.
Yes.
So we're all learning from each other, which
Yeah.
is amazing.
Yeah, I agree. There are some who are pulling and some who are, asking to be pulled up into the different levels, and there's grace amongst us all, which is amazing. And thank you again for really encouraging me and for us collaborating to get that done. So we're going to wrap it up. But the last question I do have is, what is the best advice that you can give your fellow realtors today?
If you're new to start a CRM, just to get that, because I didn't do that in the beginning. So 16 years ago, I don't have those past clients in my database, and I wish I did. So that is what I tell people all the time, is to start a CRM. Start putting those people in there and reaching out to them every single month. You'll see your business grow for sure just by that alone. So
I love that.
that is what I would say.
Love that. Any specific CRM that you would suggest, or
no? Just find one that you use. That's the common verse from everybody. Just one that you use. So I use Top Producer. It's really great. It tells you your to-dos and what to do every single day.
And it kind of has the name, right? Top Producer, because you are a top producer.
Oh, thank you.
Well, Bobby, thank you again for coming. You're episode 2. You're my second guest on the show, and I know we'll be bringing you back again. And I just appreciate you, your friendship, your partnership, everything that you do for myself, my team, our community. Thank you for being here. And with that said, make sure that you share this video and you also subscribe so that you can get all of the other and the new podcasts that are out. And with that said, make it a great day.